It got me thinking now, should I take it or leave it out? It got me thinking now, and now I'm stuck in this loop again. It got me thinking now, should I take it or leave it out? What would happen if I talk to you? Got a feeling that I get a clue. Would you be my fortnight? Would you be my fortnight? Should I take it or leave it out? It got me thinking now, and now I'm stuck in this loop again. It got me thinking now, should I take it or leave it out? What would happen if I talk to you? Got a feeling that I get a blue. Would you be my fortnight? What would happen if I talk to you?
You need some headphones, bro.
You know I said just say son. You know I said just just
You need some headphones, bro.
you know I said just I suggest. Suggest.
Oh, man. You need some headphones, bro.
You know I suggest.
Baby, can you pray tonight? Baby, can you pray for us? Oh, baby, can you pray? 'Cause every time you make time, it's only to the end. So pray tonight. So you won't know it. For every run that we had, Mr. Right and I do it. But I'll be ready every day. You know everything's alright. Are we gonna pray? Are you gonna pray tonight? Pray for me and fast. Baby, pray for me and fast. Baby, pray for me and fast. Gotta pray for me and fast. Baby, pray for me and fast. Baby, pray for me and fast.
Rolling, I like it like this. Not rocket science, cause I'm a whiz kid. It's fire, fire. Fires up the galaxy up in this. I'll be rolling like it like this. Not rocket science, cause I'm a whiz kid. Fire. On the night out, I'm on that high cloud. Shooting stars with the crowd. I'll be rolling, I like it like this. Not rocket science, cause I'm a whiz kid. It's fire, fire. Up the galaxy up in this. I'll be rolling like this. It's science, cause I'm a wicked. It's fire, fire. I'm a just a rock and roll. Yeah. rolling, I like it like this.
Good evening, race fans. I'm Pirate here with Black Flag Racing TV, and it's an interesting one for you this evening. Usually on a Sunday evening, you would come to me live for the Lithuanian National GR3 Championships, but last week it was finished, done, finito, and Simonas was crowned your champion. But this week we are back. We're back with the Lithuanian Racing Club, but this time it is Black Flag E-Racing versus the Lithuanian Racing Club in a little 4-week TVT tournament. And very simple, they pick a car, a track and some settings, and then we race it. And we pick a car, a track and some settings, and then we race that too. And we do that twice. One endurance race each, one set of sprint races each. This week, their choice. They have picked the Porsche 911 GT3, and it's the road car, not the racing car. So we're using sports soft tyres this evening. And where are we racing? Well, where else but the green hell. It's going to be a very, very interesting race. So I think without further ado, they are out there on their outlets for qualifying. It's a 20-minute qualifying, followed by a 60-minute race. And we are, I think some of them are actually on a fast lap now. So let's get out there and see what is occurring with everybody and where we're at. So, where are we? There we are. Okay, so the teams are. So we're short. Black Flag short a couple of drivers this weekend. So we have drafted in. Old Man Jay's drafted in from the club team, and Bandit has also jumped in and filled out the numbers for us. So there is Stormfly VR46. And let's take a look at the liveries on this car, because it's. And again, Kevin has excelled himself with the liveries. It's brilliant. Love the look of that car, what he's done to it. It's really, really cool. There we go. So we've got Stormfly, Kevin 77, of course, Avalon Shadow, and who else have we got? We've got Wiggy, we've got Old Man Jay, we've got Bandit, and we've got Yellow Sausages, all in for Black Flag E-Racing. Then for the Lithuanian Racing Club, it is Gidrazo, and good fourth place in the championship for him. King Bob did manage to secure himself a top 3. Timosius, good solid running from him. Fizz Rockus, Wendigo, my friend Wendigo, love it when he's racing. Simonas, their current GT3 champion, GR3 champion, and Las Vidas, the quickest thing on 4 wheels that I've seen in some time. Other than, of course, our own Kevin 77. So they're the runners this evening. 7 for them, 7 for us. The way the points work are quite simple. We're not awarding individuals points as such. So it's not about individual performance, it's about team performance. So it is 10 points for every car on the opposing team that you finish ahead of. So, for example, if you finish in first place, then obviously all the other team will finish behind you. You will get 70 points. There is an additional 10 points for fastest lap and an additional 10 points for the race win. Nothing for qualification, because that's pretty much a one-shot thing anyway. So, for example, if your teammate finishes first and you finish in second, there are still 7 of the other team behind you, and you get 70 points. It's that simple. It is 10 points for every car that finishes behind you, and that will count for every single race. And what that does is that gives everyone something to race for. Because if you've got your standard kind of 25 points for first, 20 points for second, those guys at the back, is it worth pushing for 1 extra point? Nah, not really. But here, it could make the difference between 20 or 30 points just by making a little push. So it gives everybody from the front to the back something to race for. This is a 4-race series, and along that 4-race series we'll have 2 endurance races, one this week and ours next week. I will send over our settings, I promise. Quick hello to everyone in the chat. Danas, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Armness, really looking forward to this. Rollies, good evening. Marius, yes, let's go. Audriox, thanks for joining us. It's all you guys, man. You guys love this shit. Yeah, so I will get our settings across tomorrow. I think they finally agreed what we're going to do. It's not getting the blood out of stone with Rollo, you know what it is like. But that will be announced tomorrow, and then we're going to have 2 sprint races, and that will be mainly focused on the club drivers. And that's not to say that we don't want to put our best drivers out for everything. How you doing, Phil? Good to see you, mate. Shame you couldn't join us for the TVT. We were scrambling around for an extra, but Bandit did jump in and help us out at lastminute.com. Yeah, so the club races are essentially to give those guys that don't ordinarily get picked for the kind of elite team versus team events a chance to race each other, and makes it feel more part of the team. And plus, it gives me something to talk about because more people want to crash, and that's always more fun. So let's have a quick look. Where is everyone in the lap? It's a very, very long lap here, as you would have thought. So it's over 7 minutes a lap. So we're looking at probably about a 9-lap race here, 60 minutes. That is more than enough here. We did, as you know, there's some tired guys out there after a 3-hour endurance race at the Mon yesterday. So hopefully we can keep their eyes open and make it work. Yeah, I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be a good series. I'll tell you what, though, you really put the spanner in the works picking this one for us. It's really way left field, but you know, it's always good to have something different to do. So Stormfly with a 7 minutes, 7 minute 3 seconds 007. Is that a sign of things to come? 10 minutes left in qualifying. There is. So there is Kevin. He is. That's a 7037. That's a really solid lap from him. So 703.7. Stormfly 710. It's quicker. At the moment, that puts him firmly on pole position at the moment. Let's see what others we've got coming in. Now, 2-stop race. I think that's the way forward. 2-stop race. Obviously, the weather is on random. We don't know what is going to happen weather-wise. At the moment, it looks quite nice. It looks quite sunny, and the track is as grippy as it can be on these sports tyres. But you never know what can happen later on in the race. And because of that, it's always going to be a bit of a jeopardy. And of course, there'll be no racing wets or intermediates available because we're using sports tyres today. But yeah, so it's 2 to 3 laps on your fuel, depending how hard you push. So if you are super qualifying pace pushing, then you're only going to get 2 laps out of your fuel. Tyres will last either way. Rear tyres will probably go before the softs will, but those are the tyres that work for you. In terms of race pace, though, you're going to drop off a little bit, save the fuel a little bit, and you should be able to squeeze 3 laps out. So it's 3 laps pit, another 3 laps pit, and then it's balls to the floor to the end of the race for the 9 laps, which is where we think we are going to be coming in with the 60 minutes. You never know, the pace could be absolutely woeful, 8 minutes plus, and then we're only doing 7 laps or whatever. So MT96, that's a great lap from him. King Bob does a 7 minutes dead, 7 minutes .1. Avalon Shadow with a 7:34. Timosius with a 7:02.9. Guy is just on his first out lap. I'm sure he's already done that. Fizz Ruckus at 7:04.6. Wiggy not finished his lap yet. Simona's not finished his lap yet. Wendigo's still on his hot lap, as is Yellow Sausages. There's Vidas also. Bandit also. Old Man J is on his hot lap at the moment. So, fastest lap so far is a 7 minute .1. That's a very, very quick lap from King Bob MT96. And I'll tell you, obviously I'm in quite a unique position. Simonis does a 6:56.6. That's utterly nuts. That's nuts. You can tell he's been practicing. And of course, they have been. Yeah. But anyway, I was going to say about King Bob, because, obviously I've watched race after race after race, and I've seen this race quite a bit. Obviously, the 10 races of the Lithuanian Championships, but also I've seen him race in other series as well. And I've got to say, I've seen some great improvement in terms of pace and consistency. And it just seems to get better. And at the moment, these guys really dominating on this track. That's a 6:56.6 from Simonis, a 7-minute dead from MT96, and Las Vilas does a 6:55.2. You can tell they've got a real affinity for this track, and hopefully we can pick a track that we have equal affinity with, a track in a car that we have equal affinity with next week. And I think the guys have pretty much decided on what they're doing. And be sure, Ronnie's, I will let you know tomorrow once they've confirmed it for me. But my God, what laps they were! Timothy's 7:02.9. Guy didn't see what his lap was, but he's about 8 seconds off that pace, so that would put him somewhere around 7 minutes. 7. We with 7:17.7. Yellow Sausages does a 7:22.7. Bandit still to finish his lap. Old Man Jay also still to finish his lap. And commend Old Man Jay for jumping in lastminute.com to help out, and Bandit as well, obviously, as we lost a couple of planned drivers, couldn't make it from the elite team. So the club provides, and that's the whole point of having a team, isn't it? You have people that can jump into the seats when you need them. So looking forward to this tonight. It's going to be a cool race then. That's the 20 minutes there. I think we've just got a couple more left to put a lap in. Bandit, Old Man Jay still to put a lap in, but they're not far off being finished now. Where's Bandit? Bandit is there. So Bandit does an 8:05.7. But bearing in mind that an hour ago he didn't even know he was racing. That's not bad going. Just 5 minutes left in quali. That'll give Old Man Jay a chance to get across the line and put a time in. Maximum effort today from everybody, I think. Damage is on heavy. So if you do damage your car, it's going to affect your performance. And, depending on where you damage it, you could have potentially a long 7 or 8 minute period before you can jump in and repair your car. I think it depends. This is one of those, it's not a racetrack like a high speed ring, or one of the short racetracks we do in a minute and a half a lap, where the loss is so great from the damage that it's worth going in and taking a pit stop and repairing the damage here, because the lap is so incredibly long and there's only a small amount of laps. It might not necessarily be worthwhile repairing the damage if it's only something like that, some light damage on the front and the rear. Obviously, if your engine's affected, then it's going to be a big problem. But I think in this kind of scenario, sometimes it's better just to stick to your strategy and stay out with your car as it is. And Old Man Jay's coming up to finish the lap here at Nordschleife, and it's a phenomenal racetrack, but it really does require every ounce of your concentration and your ability and everything else. Obviously, with it being on sports tyres as well, you haven't got the grip you would usually associate with driving around a track like this. So it's almost like a track day, really, sports tyres on your sports car. So it's a 7:49 for Old Man Jay. It's not a bad lap considering. You've got to bear in mind that most of these guys have been practicing for the mine endurance event that we had yesterday, and that's up to £375 raised. And I know we've got £50 pledged as well. A couple of drivers are sponsored. That's coming in next week, Monday. I think it's coming in. And so, yeah, good effort from everyone so far. We've still got 4 races in there. Although we might change the format a little bit and put in a 6-hour race, so we've got less streams. Haven't decided yet. We're still discussing it. So if anyone out there is up for a 6-hour race, give us a shout. Not entirely set in stone yet, but the rumblings seem to be that seems to be the popular plan. So we are going to be ready to start very, very shortly with Simonis, Las Vilas, the 2 fastest guys out there. Simonis with a 6:56.6. Las Vilas did something similar, actually. King Bob with 7 minutes dead, I think it was, wasn't it? He's sitting in the pits now. So we are just waiting for the race to start. Black Flag TV over the next few days, got quite a lot coming up. We're back with the GR4 lottery tomorrow. Just a couple of rounds left in that before we can crown the winner. I think the winner's already been decided. I think Kevin has already established himself as the winner of that particular race series. But that we've got a couple more rounds after that from tomorrow. Tuesday we're back with late night racing on Formula One. And we're on to round 3 or 4, I can't remember. Are we already on round 4? I think we are. I think we're on to round 4. But I could be wrong. Wednesday we're back to the GR3 Championship, which was obviously postponed for our last team versus team against Virtual Races Club. That was a really, really cool series. But we're back to GR3 on Wednesday. Yeah, what we're going to do, Phil, is if we do the 6-hour race, we're going to allow auto drive to be on, which we don't usually do, which would allow people essentially a period where they can put the car in auto drive and go for the wee fag, whatever they need to do, where we'll put 2 mandatory auto drive periods in. What I might do is do it sort of every 2 hours. We go, right, auto drive on, or whatever it is, and everybody puts it in auto drive for a couple of minutes, and then there's another thing. Right, so we are pretty much ready to go. It's a rolling start here. I don't think it's a good start. I don't know if you can do a good start in Lord's Leaf, to be fair. But that's your qualifying times all done and dusted, and we will get racing. Yeah, as I said, it's not set in stone with a 6-hour race film. We're still negotiating. But obviously next week there is no Endurance race because it is round 6 of GT Fusion, the final round and of the GT Fusion World Championships, and obviously the winners will be crowned there. But we've got a number of us competing in that, and that'll be absolutely cool. I'm really looking forward to that one. GT Fusion is always a good laugh. Loads of people watching, and when the lobbies are purring right, it's a good laugh to watch and be involved in. You'll notice we had a new intro scheme this morning, or this evening even. That is courtesy of an old friend of mine who's decided to help me tidy up my graphics a little bit. So big shout out to Two Fingers for that. We'll be working on some new stuff for the stream in terms of graphics wise, although his choice of music was a bit shit, but we'll talk about that later. So I think that's everybody qualified. It's time to see. Now the thing here is going to be keeping your car undamaged. Look, Bandit, it's a team effort, mate. Good luck to everyone. You know, the way the points are distributed, it's you can pick up points quite easily. It's just about finishing ahead. How many cars do you finish ahead of? Rollers forgot to change to rolling even. I didn't check that, to be honest. I think it does, mate. I think if you change the room, I think it deletes quali. Because the settings have changed. That is something they need to fix, to be fair, but I think we'll see. I'm sure that if you reset the lobby, I'm sure it deletes qualifying times. I could be wrong though. I could be wrong. If anyone else can confirm, yeah, it does. I thought it did. I thought, do you know what? Right, I've been sitting here thinking I've got a little buzzing in my ear from the monitor. I'm thinking that my headphones are on the way up, but I think it's just the car engines. Yeah, it's just the car engines, because if I go out, there's no one on the track now to check it with. You can't manually set the grid fill. That's the problem. They don't have a manual grid set. They do on Duty Sport, but they haven't got one here, stupidly. There's no manual grid set. There's no proper reverse grid. There's lots of things missing. So it's going to be a grid start then instead. So full start check instead. That's all right. It's no problem there. It's a tricky first sector here. I know, Phil, do you know what? When this 25 update comes in, they've got to do something. They jump out quickly and then back in. There we go. Yeah, we'll have a chat about that in a sec, Phil, about the update that's coming once the race is underway, of course. So, Las Vidas is away. Simonas, MT96, Timosius, Stormfly, the highest runner for us at the moment. Then Guy and Kevin 77. Fizz Rockus, Wendigo, Wiggy Yellow Sausages, Avalon, Old Man Jane Bandit. Some work for us to do today, boys. But, we knew it was going to be tricky. The track is a bit damp. Now, this is where things can change for the worst. At the moment, it is only damp. Does it stay this way? That's the question. And how many problems does this now create? It's how well you can drive with the wet weather with the track being as wet as it is. And Old Man Jay already off the track there, going to visit some grass. We're going to see a bit of that, I think, under the wet weather conditions. So that one here is Las Vidas in the lead, 1.3 seconds clear of Simonas, the current reigning LRC champion. 1.3 seconds ahead of MT96. He is a minute ahead of Timosius, who's a minute ahead of Stormfly. Stormfly 5 tenths up from Guy, with Kevin 1.3 seconds behind. It looks like there's a section of the track drying, and hopefully it stays that way, because at the moment the last thing we want is lots and lots of crashes. Fizz Rockus is 6 tenths back, there in a second back to Wendigo, and then it is all black flag. Wiggy 1.8 back, then 1.2 to Yellow Sausages, 5.4 to Avalon, 12 to Bandit, and then Old Man J with Bandit right now. We knew this was going to be difficult going into this race. Let's see how we get on as the race progresses. It's a very, very tricky track and car combo. They pulled a smart one out of the bag, putting this in as a choice. We're going to have to be wily with our choice, I think, and see what we can do. So yes, so let's. We've got the first lap here. The race will start to sort itself out. We'll talk about this 25th anniversary update. Now we've seen that there are some cars in there, and I have a good authority. One of them is a Cosworth, which will be good. But the problem is that the thing that needs fixing most in the game at the moment is the state of the lobbies and the lack of functionality in the lobbies. And I think that's something that if they want to, they're celebrating a legacy of 25 years. And if you're going to celebrate a legacy of 25 years, the thing you need to do is to bring back some of the stuff that made this franchise great. So if you look back at GT Sport and how great the lobby system was on there, and then how much it lacks transferred to GT7, I think that's what they need to look at and see if they can do some little tweaky repairs to that. And I really do hope they've done something about it in the update. I'll be pissed if they haven't, but what do we do? There are other racing games we can go to, but nobody will. That's the problem. It will take everybody to say no, we're not doing what they want, but that won't happen. Excuse me. So, at the moment, nothing changed. Las Vidas still out in front from Simonas, MT96 from Timosius, then Stormfly, then Guy, then Kevin 77. Fizz Ruckers, the track is dry now. Well, certainly around this part of the racetrack anyway. Wendigo in 9th place. Wiggy is running in 10th. The gap only 6.1 seconds to Wendigo. Yellow Sausage sticking with 2.3 seconds. 6.7 back to Avalon Shadow. 18 seconds back to Bandit. And 2 back to Old Man J. And the key here is just to Try and manage your pace, keep the car on the track, not make any silly errors at this stage, and sort of rely that hope that the guys in front do make an error or two. At the moment, they're looking pretty solid, and the pace looking pretty good from LRC at the moment. We know that Las Vegas and Simona's very quick. We know Kevin and Stormfly also very quick. But it's down to track experience. They've got a bit more experience on this track. Got experience with the car. This is something they've picked, something they've raced with, something they've got a deep understanding of. So they are going to have the advantage here in this race. As the rain starts again, is that going to start to make things a little bit more complicated? How much practice have they had in the wet? I know we had a little bit of rain in the last race in their championship, and some went on into some chose to stay out. We'll see how it works out. So Las Vegas 1.2 seconds clear of Simonas. No, I agree with you, Phil, actually. I don't think they wanted to focus more on the single player aspect. I think the problem they've got is the game was initially lauded as a PS5 only game, and then with COVID and lack of consoles on the PS5 and stuff, they had to change their tackle. It was a bit of pressure because they binned a couple of big releases they were going to bring out. They needed some sort of flagship marquee kind of game release, and GT7 was it. But I don't think the lobbies were ready when the game was released. And I agree with you, they should have just ported the whole single player aspect, the whole multiplayer aspect over, or just take a multiplayer out completely from GT7, left it on GT Sport, and made GT7 a single player only game for the time being, and maybe just released it later. But I think that's the problem, is that, or the other thing they do is they completely take out GT Sport online. Then it will force the players on GT Sport over to GT7, and then you get the pressure of the people wanting to improve it. But I don't know. But at the moment, their focus is microtransactions. But so back to the racing. It's Las Vegas 1.3 clear of Simonas. We're coming towards the end of the first lap here. MT96 in third, Tomosius in fourth. Top four spots all for LRC. Stormfly is in fifth place, Guy in sixth, Kevin in seventh. Just splitting those at the back. Then it's Fizruckus and Wendigo, followed by Wiggy, Yellow Sausages, Avalon, Bandit, and Old Man J for Black Flag. So at the moment, points-wise, nice big haul for LRC. It's 10 points for every one of your opponents that you beat. So at the moment, with them locking out the front four, it's a very, very good performance from them. Now, in terms of tyre wear, can they take these 3 laps? That's the question. We're looking at the pace. The pace is very, very strong out front, and it's a very big question about whether you can run, how many laps you can run with the fuel available. Now, looking at how the fuel's been burnt out, I think 3 laps and a 2 stop is a big ask, to be fair, with how quick the pace has been. Kevin at the moment is 2 seconds behind Guy. Would expect to see him closing up. Just starting to get the feel for the car, and obviously that will make a big difference. But Las Vegas in the lead. We'll have a little on board with him from his perspective. He spent a lot of time in his car, a lot of time on this track, and you can see the experience coming through here. Little wobble there, but does keep it in the right place. And this car is all about braking earlier and it's, being a little bit careful with the throttle. I've struggled, I struggled driving some of the best cars in the best environments, so you know what I'm talking about. Well, I really struggled to keep this car on the road here. It's a very difficult car to drive, and anyone that makes it to the end of this race deserves some commending for doing it, because I don't know if I could last 9 laps before I got frustrated and booted my steering wheel through a window. Certainly driving this car in these conditions. But we look at the state of that sky, I think it's going to get wetter, much wetter very, very soon. 1.1 seconds is the lead for Las Vegas. There's Simonas' teammate, just a back end, just coming out on him there in that corner. And we're heading up the road now, and you can see on the mini-map how adrift that Bandit and Old Man J are. But let's be fair, there's no shame in them being back where they are. The LRC guys we're racing against are the very best they've got to offer. And, Bandit and JR, two club racing guys, have jumped in to cover where it was needed. And that's what being a team is all about. People cover for you. It is what it is. MT96 running in third place, starting to lose touch with Simonis and Las Vidas, just out in front of him. 3.2 seconds is the gap. Then we've got Timosius, he's 4.9 behind MT96 again, losing. You can just see his teammate King Bob just going around that bend ahead of him, but now he has lost sight. Guy is 1.2 behind there, 1.3. Now, is there game plan? Are they allowed to race each other? Or is there strict team instructions to hold fire? And I thought Guy was about to put his car in a wall there, but he does rescue it, and a good job for him. So Kevin's got ahead of Stormfly's dropped back a little bit because he was in 5th behind Timosius. So he's dropped back. Kevin has moved up 1 place into 6th. Little bit wide there. Just still getting the feel for this car, the experience of this car. But 2.4 seconds behind Guy at the moment. Stormfly 2.2 seconds behind him. He's clearly had a little bump somewhere. You can see the damage on the rear of his car. Fizz Ruckus running in 8th, Wendigo running in 9th. And there's a 15-second back to Wiggy. 8 back to Yellow Sausages. 13.7 back to Avalon Shadow. 49 to Old Man J, and 1.3 seconds back to Bandit. So those two have got their own little back marker battle going. And Jay just loses the back end of his car. You can see it wobbling out from behind him. There's not a lot you can do to stop that. Just happened. But there we go. It is what it is. So we are midway through lap number 2 here, and we think it's going to be around a 9-lap race here at Nordschleife. And I'll tell you what, it's not a track that I enjoy too much driving. Certainly not in cars with no grip. I don't mind so much if you've got some racing tyres or you've got a bit of grip, But sports soft tyres are horrible, horrible things. And I do commend the LRC boys on picking a quite left field car and track and tyre and settings combo. You've really thought it through as a way of negating the pace we have throughout the team. Very, very smart. We're going to have to try and pull one back over your eyes for the next race, of course. But it just goes to show that there is there is a distinct level of pace out there, and practice will always make you better. And I know these guys have been practicing this track. We probably not as much as we would have liked to with the other stuff we've got going on, but even still, it's there's some great pace out there among these Lithuanian guys. And Las Vidas is showing that pace, 2.1 seconds clear from Simonas, who is now 2.8 up from MT96. And I apologise for you there. It's been, I'd say it's been a long day, but I've literally done nothing all day, really. Watched a bit of F1, of course. And congratulations to Red Bull and Max Verstappen for winning the championship, and with a record point haul as well. And commiserations to Ricardo, and Ricardo is leaving, obviously. Although there is some word that will be coming and joining Red Bull as a test driver. And we're going to miss you, Seb Vettel. It's been a long time. It's weird when you've been watching sport for so long that you watch the new people coming in as they're leaving, and you even see like kids of people who saw racing on the racetrack, which is really, really surreal. So Timosius running in 4th place, 8.3 seconds back from MT96. He's got Guy right up behind him. Guy looking to make a move here. Got a much better exit from that corner. They're running side by side, giving each other loads and loads of room. Guy moves up into 4th place, ahead of Timosius. Kevin 77, he's got 4.1 seconds on Timosius to make up. And we're here on lap 2 of probably 9 laps. As you see, Fizz Ruckus is ahead of Stormfly, but Stormfly really tried to get on the back and make a move here. So Stormfly had another issue with those tyres looking pretty ropey, to be fair, and it looks like just as you see the under braking, the car gets very, very squirrely. So who's in the pits? Fizrukas into the pits. Stormfly stays out for another lap. He's got to hope those tyres hold out. Looking pretty damn ropey at the moment. Kevin definitely staying out for another lap. He's got the fuel to make it. Who else is staying out? Well, pretty much everyone. So Las Vidas stayed out, of course. Simonis out. MT96 stays out, as does Guy, as does Timosius. Kevin stays out. Stormfly stays out. Wendigo staying out for another lap. Wiggy too. Wiggy looks after those tyres very, very well, actually. Fizrukas went into the pits. Yellow Sausages has stayed out. He's going past the pit lane now. Fizrukas still in there. And Avalon Shadow, was that some damage he's got to repair as well? Is that why he's in there so long? It's an incredibly long pit stop here, and really does take your time. And he's got a 1 second penalty as well that he's going to have to serve at some stage. Avalon Shadow is running in 12th. Is he going to get past him? He's it says the gap's 1 minute, but it's going to be a lot less than that now. So Fizrukas gets out in 11th, gap down to 14 seconds. Avalon is running and further lap. Bandit, let's see what Bandit, and I think Bandit, fuel-wise, should be okay. Old Man J will definitely be okay. Old Man J, this could really play into his hands. He might be a bit of a way back, but he can run probably 4 laps. At the rate he's going now, that could bring him into contention later on. He's currently 2 minutes behind the leader, but only 11 seconds beyond Bandit, and 56 seconds beyond Avalon. You're in the pits for over a minute. That's the problem when you're in there. So if you're pitting twice, then you are over 2 minutes in there, well over 2 minutes. Old Man J only has to pit once, and he can be pretty racy in the final stint. It could be a clever ploy. There's the penalty for Fizrukas, as we said, and the car very, very wobbly. You can see it all over the shop. He's got that penalty to serve. He is 20 seconds ahead of Avalon, but you don't know what will happen over the next couple of laps. Yes, Sausages 14 seconds behind Wiggy. Wiggy 18 behind Wendigo. Wendigo is 1.8 behind Stormfly, who did get back ahead of Fizrukas. He's 2.8 behind Kevin at the moment, trying to close up that gap a little bit. As Kevin closed a little bit on Timosius as he starts to find the rhythm of the track with the current settings. Is he able to close that down, that 3.8 second gap down, and get himself a much quicker time? So in terms of lap times, Las Vegas with the fastest lap, that was a 7 minutes, 0.8. Simonis with 702.3, MT96 702.4, so not that much slower than Simonis ahead of him. Gee did a 707.2. Excuse me. Timosius with a 709.6, and then Kevin with a 709.0. So he is closing on Timosius, and that'll be a place gain for him. Stormfly with a 714.4. He was running quite well, but he clearly had a little bit of some damage, and those rear tyres looking ropey, and he's got a long way to go on those tyres as well. I'd be very afraid if I was in his position right now. And Timosius spins out, so that puts Kevin through. That'll put Stormfly through. Did another spin there from Timosius as Wendigo goes through. So that's pushed him right back. Now, where's Wiggy in relation to Timosius? How much closer is he? Well, the gap's 25 seconds. So Timosius has got, it's now, it's 12 seconds, 10 seconds, as he just gets back up to speed. How much damage has Timosius got, though? Not a lot. There's no engine damage. It's just a little bit of front wing and front left, suspension damage. So, doesn't kill him, but has cost him a couple of places. Cost him a few places, actually. So we've got Kevin up to 5th place, Stormfly up to 6th, Wendigo up to 7th, Timosius drops down 10 seconds behind Wendigo, and he's just 7 seconds inside Wiggy's window of chase down, as I'm going to moniker it. So Wiggy now trying to close down that 7 seconds, and it looks like the gap is holding pretty much steady around 7.5 at the moment. Yellow Sausage is 22.6 seconds back from Wiggy, and just struggling to keep that car on the road there. Fizz Rocker still has that penalty to serve. The gap is 3.1 seconds. He's looking pretty quick, but he's going to have to serve that penalty at some stage, and hopefully that's enough to keep him off the back of Yellow Sausages at this time. 47 seconds back to Avalon Shadow, who's really struggled with this car here. But you know, it's what happens. You know, it's down to the level of practice. These guys clearly have had this practice down to a fine art. They're looking very, very good around here. Very, very good. Bandit running in 13th, and Old Man Jay is running in 14th, but he's on a really, really good strategy, which is going to see him just in one stop. Excuse me. There's your leader, who's still out there, still churning in the big numbers. There's Las Vidas S. What do the S stand for? It's not slow, I can tell you that. It's definitely not Las Vidas slow. Speedy, super fast, but not slow. There's Simonis, he's 3 seconds back. He's also quick, he's putting a 7:02.3. 4.9 seconds ahead. Although if you look at those tyres, they're close enough to the end of the lap for it not to be that big a deal. But, you know, it only takes one little slip up, you know, one little mistake, and those tyres, as bad as they are, can cause you problems. Now, we have seen Simonis run some really, really ropey tyres before and make it last. We've seen it right on Black Flag TV, so we know he can do it. And it's a question of whether, you know, you do have to be a bit slower into the corners, and they'll come around here and into the pits he goes. So that's Vidas in, Simonis in, MT96, he will come in he comes. What about Guy? Guy still a little bit away back, but he's definitely going to be coming in as well, as will Kevin, although his tyres are in a much better condition, so that gives him a chance to really put that hammer down and try and close the gap a little bit. Wendigo will also be in, of course. Stormfly will be in, as will Samosius, who had that spin and set himself back quite some way behind Stormfly. Wiggy will be in. Now, how much damage do these guys repair? That's the question. And you can see how long they're in the pits for, because these guys, look how long ago these guys came in, and they are still sitting there. And we'll see when they finally pull out just how long you spend in the pits. The only benefit they're going to have is they don't have to repair. So it doesn't actually give you a pit time, though, which is really, really frustrating. But they're finally out. Next out will be MT96. He leaves the pit now. Wendigo, he will be next to leave the pit, I think. Eventually, of course. So there's Kevin coming out of the pits. He comes out in 6th place behind Guy. So he's lost a place there in that... oh no, he's lost a place. That's because Fizz Ruckus has come through. Remember, Fizz Ruckus did pit at the end of lap 2. So he's slightly out of the pit cycle, which is why Kevin has lost a place. I'm sure he's scratching his head and wondering why at the moment, but that's why. It's because Fizz Ruckus pitted early. And we'll have to go in again. Oh my god, you're in again. You have to do something about that. I should have put a coffee on, shouldn't I? Should have put a coffee on. So Les Vidas in the lead. He is his lead has been cut though, because Simonis has cut it to under almost under half a second. Is Simonis able to make a move here? You know what would be ideal, and you know I don't wish it of anybody, but if these two start racing each other and one clips the other and they both spin off into a ball of fire into the wall, and then we sail through and see the sunset to take the win. I'm only joking. Who wants to see that? No one does, of course. Las Vidas is holding the torch for them out in front, 7/10 of a second from the current champion Simonas, and then King Bob MT96 running comfortably in 3rd. He's 7.4 behind that battle. He has Fizz Ruckus, who has already pit in this race. He pits at the end of lap 2, so he will on that basis be pitting again at the end of this lap, will he not? Or is he finally running a different strategy? He's 16 seconds behind MT96, just 1.6 ahead of Kitrazo. 1.2 seconds ahead of Kevin, who has moved down a place, but that is because of the change in the pit cycle, obviously with Fitzrockers being one place or a couple of places further up because he pitted earlier. Wendigo comes out in 7th place, 8.2 behind Kevin. We saw him and Kevin and Stormfly all go through when Timosius spun his car on lap 3. Stormfly is still running behind Wendigo, 7.9 seconds. Timosius is back up and running, of course, but he's 7.4 seconds behind Stormfly. Then we go back to 10th place is Wiggy, 20.6 seconds. He's back out, another 3-lap run for him. We're at the 25-minute mark, so about 5 minutes from halfway round this race. And we said it's going to be a 9-lap race, and I think we're there or thereabouts. I think it depends on... Yeah, I think it depends on pace. I think 8 laps is probably more realistic, honestly. Yellow Sausages is 23.5 seconds back on those sports soft tyres. Don't we wish that was super soft and not sports soft, eh? Then we go back 1.13 minutes, 1 minute 13 seconds behind is Yellow Sausages. Behind Yellow Sausages is Avalon Shadow, should I say, who's 5.6 ahead of Old Man J. Old Man J on a very, very different strategy. He has gone 3 laps with half a tank of fuel. I'll tell you what, I thought he was going to do 4 laps on those tyres. I reckon that Old Man J is going to go for 6 laps on that fuel and give himself a 1 stop with just a couple of laps to run at the end. He's not out, he's not down and out of this by any stretch of the imagination, to be fair. There's Bandit, 3 seconds is his penalty. He obviously crossed the pit line at some stage. 36 seconds back, but he's on a different strategy to Jay, out to get ahead of him. Les Vidas leads 1.8 seconds from his teammate Simonas. So at the moment it will be 70 points for Les Vidas Simonas. MT96 and Fizrukas and Guy. Then we would have obviously 10 bonus points for Les Vidas, 10 bonus points for whoever has the fastest lap. If that was also Les Vidas. Then it's going to be 10. No, it's going to be more than that. It's going to be more. Do you know what? I could sit here and work it all down. I'm not going to. It would be ridiculous trying to work that out. Essentially, what we need to do is we need Kevin and Stormfly up in amongst those 5 out front at the moment. If we can get them to split that gap, it just negates the points loss a little bit more, and then just makes our job a little bit easier in round number 2. But to be fair, we came out here today and we were expecting a good race, and we knew these guys were quick, and we knew it was going to be a struggle today on an unfamiliar track in an unfamiliar car. We knew it was going to be difficult, so every point gained is a worthy one, of course. So Guy's running in 5th place. He's got Kevin 1.5 seconds behind him. Of course, Fitzrockers is out of the current sync now. He ran 2 laps in the first. That was a brilliant save from Fitzrockers. I genuinely thought I was about to talk about how he put that car on a wall, but I mean, it's not going to help his tyres anything. But the back of that car sliding, a brilliant arrest of that slide. It's very twitchy in his hands, that car, very twitchy, and it is bringing Guy into contention. Is Kevin going to be able to keep up with them? Or is Guy going to make the move on Fitzrockers? No, it's different. Every round is different, Phil. So for the next round, which we will pick the track and settings and car for the next endurance race, we pick everything for that. And then with the same again with the 2 sprint series, which is for the club players. They pick and we pick. So back in the pack, Bandit, and he's having a torrid day, but he did jump in with, hardly any practice, or no practice at all when you're on the track, apart from what he did before qualifying. Certainly no experience of the car, but jumped into cover. But that's what teammates do. They jump in and they help you out every now and again. So thank you for that, Bandit, for covering where it was needed. Is his window open? I could have sworn that his driver's side window was open and his elbow was sticking out. Or maybe it's just a funny angle. Old man Jay, there he is running in 13th. He's on a very, very odd strategy, to be fair. Well, it's not an odd strategy, it's a strategy in itself. He knows he's not super quick and he's not going to take this car all the way around. So he's going to one-stop this. But I think he's going to one-stop this with a stop at lap 4. Sorry, lap 5 maybe. Because he's on lap 4 now, or maybe lap 6. We'll see. He's definitely going to make it to lap 5 on the current fuel. He's made it this far already. Tell you what, it's quite a keen strategy, that. Avalon Shadow's 6 seconds up the road. He's 1 minute 22 back. But again, it's lack of experience on the track. Yellow Sausages is 43 seconds behind Wiggy now, who's just seems to have started getting this car dialed in now, and the way he likes it. And our lack of experience does show around Lord Schleif. But that's what racing's all about. Sometimes you race the things that are perfect for you, and you show everybody what you're made of, and other times you don't necessarily have it all your own way, and we're going to have to work at it, and that's just the way it is. So we know that in order to win this racing series, we are going to need to put some significant effort in not only our track choices, but in other races. And let's face it can't get worse than these settings here. I nearly cried. A little bit of me inside nearly died when I saw the settings and realised what I'd have to go back to the team with. But it is what it is. So Timosius running in 9th place. We saw him spin on lap 3, and it allowed Stormfly, Wendigo, and Kevin 77 to go through. And you can see there he lost a lot of time. A minute away, he did put it as well. There is Stormfly in 8th place. He is 1.9 or 1.6 seconds at the moment behind Wendigo. So he has closed that gap down a little bit. And we know Wendigo's a very solid driver. He was a runner-up in the Lithuanian Championship, which he lost out lastminute.com. And if anybody watching wants to check that out, all 10 races can be found on Black Flag TV from round 1 all the way through to last week's round 10. All there, and please subscribe and like and all that kind of shizzle. Thank you very much. Wendigo, there is, we're just talking about him. He led the GR3 Championship for every race until race number 9, when Simonis came in and went, "Pachoon, thank you very much, that's mine." And so there we go. He's 2.5 seconds behind Fizz Ruckus. Fizz Ruckus started to drop down the order now. He did pit at the end of lap 2. If he is true to form, we'll see him pit at the end of lap 4. I thought I was going to say the end of lap 4, but he stayed out. So he's going to pit at the end of lap 5. So he is slightly out of sync, but we'll see where the strategy takes him. Kevin is on fresher tyre, little tiny bit of damage to his front left, but that's it. 3.3 seconds is the gap to Guy, who's currently running in 4th. Guy being 20.8 seconds behind MT96, 14.4 behind Simonas. But he has closed the gap a little bit on Las Vidas. He's closed it down to 1.7 seconds. So that's looking a little bit up for him. In fact that he's closed that gap down to just 1.7 seconds. We are here, we're lap 5. This is a 60-minute team versus team endurance race. It is the Lithuanian Racing Club versus Black Flag E-Racing. This is their choice of settings. It is on the Green Hell at Nordschleife in the phenomenal 911 GT3. And it is the road car version, not the racing version. We are using sport soft tyres, and it is very changeable weather conditions. The track was wet at the start of the race. It has dried out since, and touch wood, it stays that way, and we can continue racing. Oh, I don't know. Do we want a wet track? Is that going to aid us in any way? Is it going to slow these guys down? I don't think it will. Las Vegas is your current leader. He was the pole sitter. He's 1.9 seconds clear of Simonis. His lap 2, he did in a 7:08. That's the fastest lap of the race so far. Simonis running in second place. He is 17.3 seconds clear of MT96. And you can't see a thing. You can't see either way. It's just him on the track. We look up, we look down. Doesn't matter how far you look ahead, you just can't see your opponent from there. But he is 20 seconds clear of his teammate Guy. So the first 4 places now occupied by LRC. Then we've got the first of the black flag runners. There is Kevin 77 pushing this car to its limit. 5.6 seconds is the gap to Guy. Stormfly is behind him, just 3.1 seconds. Starting to push. They're ahead of Wendigo. Wendigo 1.4 seconds back. Is hanging on with them, but is he going to close? At the moment, it doesn't look like he's able to. He is 2.2 seconds in front of his teammate Fizrukas, who just seems to be dropping down through the order. He pits at the end of lap 2. He has stayed out, despite the fact I thought he was going to pit at the end of lap 4. Did his fastest personal best lap of the race, lap 4, stayed out. But he's definitely going to have to pit at the end of this lap because his tyres are looking pretty darn ropey. That's going to let Timosius through. That's going to let possibly, there's no possibly about it, that will let Wiggy through. It's a long pit stop here. Yellow Sausage is 51 seconds behind. That's not going to let him through. He's going to run at least one more lap before he considers pitting from that position. 1 minute back, 1 minute 50 seconds back is Avalon Shadow. He is ahead of Old Man J quite significantly. 28 seconds is that gap to Old Man J. But Old Man J is running super duper long in this race. Possibly to the end of it. Surely it's got to be the end of this lap. He can't be going to the end of lap 6. Although if you look at his current fuel consumption, it's certainly a possibility. After 3 laps, he had half a tank of fuel left. So maybe he is just fuel saving like a demon, and seeing where that helps him end up. In order to get anything out of it, he's going to have to finish ahead of. We basically need these guys to finish ahead in some way of the LRC guys, because the points are based on how many teammates you beat on the racetrack. There is Bandit, drafted in to come and help out at the last minute. 28 seconds back, but he's in it to have a go, and that is the most important thing, that he's giving it some beans. So there's your race. You see Fizrukas in. Stormfly and Kevin have both gone in at the end of lap 5. So is that a little change in strategy for the second half of this race? Certainly looks that way, because we're looking at what we're almost at the 40-minute mark, just shy. So is this going to be an 8-lap race? Is this going to be a 9-lap race? That's the question. So Kevin comes out, little splash and dash. He's opted to change his tyres out early. That's allowed Wiggy through. Wiggy's going to run another lap before he comes in. So strategy's getting split and changed just to try and force the issue. So Fizrukas comes into the pits. Now out he comes. He will come out in 10th place. And that gap to Yellow Sausages will have come down. We'll wait and see just what that gap is very shortly. Avalon Shadow 2 minutes back from Yellow Sausages, 29 seconds ahead of Old Man J, who is 36 ahead of Bandit, who's got a half-second penalty. There's your leader, Las Vegas. Dry them an Arab Sancho. Dry them a Qatari referee's throat. And hands up, who's excited about the World Cup starting today? That's what I think of it. The Corrupt Cup, absolutely no interest in it. The corruption is just second to none. It's just ridiculous that there is still an outstanding legal challenge from the USA against FIFA for the awarding of the cup to Qatar. Right an still outstanding legal challenge because of how corrupt it was. This is what makes me laugh, right? And Qatar sold it on it being a summer football tournament. They won the tournament, they come back to FIFA and said, oh, we can't run it in the summer, we have to run it in the winter. At that point, they're in breach of contract. And yet, they gave so much money to FIFA officials in bribes that they were allowed to keep it. I'm not going to go into human rights record bullshit. The fact that being gay is punishable by imprisonment or death in that country is ridiculous. The fact that if they choose not to allow people to drink, it's a dry country, that's absolutely fine, that's their prerogative to do so. But they shouldn't have told people, come, we'll let you drink, and then move the goalpost after everybody spent loads of money and flown out there. That is a fucking piss take, right? So essentially they've got people there under false pretenses. But the biggest problem is just the sheer corruption. There's already a FIFA investigation, and I know we're going a bit off key, but fuck it, I'm doing it anyway. There's already a FIFA investigation into allegations that referees have awarded more penalties than you would ordinarily see in a series of football matches in their warm-up games. It's a ridiculous amount. There's also investigation into betting irregularities that have been occurring in the country over the last couple of weeks. And yet, teams have got no spine. No one's prepared to go, I'm not putting up with this shit. Everyone's taking their fucking money and doing it. But do you know what? I'm not fucking interested. And I love football, but not now. Not now. I knew the FA was corrupt and fucking dodgy. But they did some good stuff and kind of let them get away with it. But FIFA just take the biscuit. Anyway, so that's enough about the World Cup. Fuck you, FIFA. Say it loud, say it proud. Anyway, Las Vidas. There he is. We've been watching him lead this race 2 seconds clear. His fastest lap is 7 minutes .051. He's not the fastest man on the track though. That is his teammate and current Lithuanian champion Simonas. 6:59.7. That's a very quick racing lap. And the car just looks right on the edge of spinning off into the bushes, catching fire, never to be seen again. But somehow they keep this car on the road on these tyres. 25 seconds back, there is King Bob, MT96. He is running, as I said, 25 seconds back. He is 18 seconds clear of Gidrazo. Gidrazo is 10 seconds ahead, and there's going to be a number of them pitting at the end of this lap. There's a few different strategies going on out there, but the main one is pitting at the end of this lap. So Gidrazo is 10 seconds clear of Wendigo. Yeah, it's very tainted. The irony is I'll probably still watch the England game tomorrow because I just love football. But I'll do it on the church. No, I'm actually working to be fair, so I think I can. Anyway, so Wendigo's running in 5th place, 9.5 seconds ahead of Timosius. So at the moment, not looking great for Black Flag. There are 6 of the 7 LRC runners in the top 6 spaces. They will all be pulling off into the pits, of course. Stormfly has already pit. What happened there? I genuinely thought the lobby had crashed then. But no, Lord Sleeth's cameras were working on that particular corner. So Stormfly is 32 seconds back, but he has been into the pits. Wiggy does still need to pit for his final stop. And Kevin has been in the pits. So they will move up the order somewhat once all the guys in front of them go in. So there goes Las Vidas, he's in. Then we'll see Simonas pull in. Next, 23 seconds time, we'll see MT96 pull in. Let's have a quick look at Jay, because Jay's on. So Jay has been in, he went at the end of lap 5. Thought he was going to try and carry out till lap 6, but he's going for the one that stops strategy. How well does that work out for him at this stage? I mean, the key is he's got to get ahead of one of them. Well, that's the thing, is they don't have no international relevance because of the oil. So in that respect, they do have international relevance. But this was just it was essentially a way for these rich Qatari billionaires, to have a party paid for by the government. Essentially what it was. Nothing more, nothing less. Bandit running in 13th place, 18 seconds ahead of Jay. He's got significant damage for both front and back that is going to be slowing his progress somewhat. Avalon Shadow is 31 seconds ahead, 2 minutes behind Yellow Sausages, who is, I think it looks like he also pits at the end of lap 5 for a change in pit strategy. So Fizz Ruckus, he pits at the end of lap 5 as well. So a little bit of work for Yellow Sausages to do. He wants to catch up with him for 1 minute 28 seconds. In terms of lap time, there is a significant difference. Kevin in 9th, as we have already noted, he's 9 seconds behind Wiggy. He's clearly had a problem. He's had a crash somewhere because there's damage to the front and the rear of that car. Wiggy's still sobering. Wiggy into the pits for his second and final stop. Tomosius is in the pits as well, as is Wendigo, as is Guy. Now, Stormfly does go through up into the top floor. The top floor? He's up to the top floor. No, he's up to the top floor. No, I don't. At the end of the day, sport is sport. And, you know, at the end of the day, if I've got a platform where people are going to listen, I'm going to shout about shit like that, whether they like it or not. You essentially have 2 choices. You can listen or not listen. That's the way I look at it. But I know there's a lot of people that feel the same way I do. But yes, you are sporting relevance. We can't have a moan about Lewis Hamilton anymore because the season's over. But you never know. He might choke on a mung bean or something over the winter break when he's having his nut roast for Christmas. Les Vidas, there he is, 25. No, he's not. He's 25 nothing. He's 2.5 seconds clear in the 53 car for LRC with Simonis for company. At least they're not alone out there. Simonis trying desperately to close down the gap. He is the fastest man on the track, of course. 6 minutes 59 seconds, 0.779 for him. MT96 is 29, 30 seconds back. Everyone is on their final stint to the end of this race. Stormfly holding the flag high for Black Flag right now. 15 seconds back from MT96. Fastest lap for him has been a 7:05.4. He's had a couple of poor laps. He is currently 3.6 ahead of Gidrazo, and will ideally want to keep it that way, if not increase that somewhat. But at the moment, Gidrazo is looking pretty darn racy. And we know this boy can drive because we've seen him do it. Wendigo 6.7 seconds back from Guy, with Tomosius 14 seconds back there. And then Fizz Ruckus is 1.2 seconds back. 18 seconds further back is Kevin. He had a bad last lap. He's clearly gone off the track and had a little bump, and it happens to the worst of us. And look, I know he wasn't happy about racing his car, but the team had the challenge laid down to us. We've taken that challenge. At the moment, we haven't really shown what we're capable of, and that's, I think, more down to experience than anything else. Let's not take it away from LRC. There's some talented racers in that group, for sure. But that said, there's some talented racers in Black Flag too. And I think just at the moment we spread quite thinly in terms of competitions with obviously the internal stuff already, with RG off and Rotary, with the other team versus team which concluded this week. Then we had our Mind event, our endurance event yesterday, and we've got GT Fusion coming up. So in terms of practicing, we're practicing on a number of fronts for a number of things, and clearly not enough practice on launch leaf. But we only have a finite amount of time, and we weren't able to put in the hours. And I'm sure if we put in more time, we probably could have got a bit quicker. But there we go. It is what it is, and. Kevin running in 9th place, Wiggy running in 10th. He has a 3-second penalty. Yellow Sausage running in 11th. 12th is Avalon Shadow. 13th is Bandit. Old Man J running in 14th place. And he did one stop, but he's got significant damage, which is going to slow that car up. So not looking great for Black Flag race number 1. But remember, this is a 4-race series and plenty to race for. We've got another elite race. lost the ability to speak then. We've got another elite race next week, which will be our settings. Those will be revealed at some point tomorrow, once the guys have given them to me. Ideally, guys, if you can confirm those tonight, that would be great. Oh, my Jesus goes in there a little bit hot. Then, of course, we've got a series of sprint races, and each one is worth the same kind of points, and will be the slower drivers available to us. So, and you know, I don't mean that in a derogatory term at all, but we're all grown ups. We all know who's fast and who's slow, and that will feature the likes of people like Old Man Jay and Bandit, who have kindly stepped into the elite squad for us tonight, and you know, others down that ilk, Grizz Troopers and Phil and the other Phil if he's up for it, and yeah, we'll see. But Bandit into the pits for the final time at the end of lap 6. So they're on lap 6, everybody else on lap 7. It is a very long lap, so that's not really that representative, to be fair. No one's going to get lapped here. I can say that with some level of certainty. Unless, of course, there was a massive crash. So Las Vidas is 3.2 seconds clear of Simonas. 33 seconds clear of MT96. Still holds the fastest lap, does Simonas, with a sub 7-minute lap. Stormfly has opened up the gap from Gear a little bit. 15.3 behind MT96. Just trying to close down that gap a little bit. But it does mean points. No, absolutely, you're invited, my friend. Absolutely. It is the whole point of team events is that as many members of the team that can get involved do get involved, and yeah, and you know it does mean sometimes when the elite guys aren't available. Like I know PM10 isn't able to race at the moment, so he's had to drop out, and TJ has decided he doesn't want to race in team events. But to be fair, he's very drunk today, and wouldn't have been able to drive anyway. Because he's very drunk. Still celebrating, of course, his performance last night in the 3-hour endurance race, where it was only a 40 wheel on lap 2 and lap 5 that cost him the win there, because he finished under 2 minutes behind the eventual winner, which of course was the Yellow Sausages. Devastating display from him last night. Yeah. He lost more. TJ lost more than 2 minutes with his steering wheel, so congratulations to him. He celebrates tonight, which is why he's not racing. And Stormfly into the pits, and it looked to me like he'd smashed into the wall coming in. So, question is, how many spaces can he make up, if any at all? And that's the problem. The strategy seems to have swapped out somewhat. And we start lap 8. It's going to be a 9-lap race here, but not for everybody. For Las Vidas, it will most certainly be 9 laps. And for Simonas, MT96 as well. For Guy, it will be. For Wendigo, it will be. For Tomosius, it might be. Where's he? Oh, he's on lap 8, so yes, it will be. For Fizrokas, when he's coming in the pits, it might not be quite for him. Because he's in now. Stormfly is in the pits as well. He will be out very shortly. Might not make the 9 laps. No, I think he will. He will. He's out quick enough. But he's got a 3-second penalty. And that'll be for crossing the line. Going into Zipheads. Where's Wiggy? Wiggy comes through. Is he ahead of Fizrokas? Doesn't look like he is. Not yet. Fizrokas still in there. He does get ahead of Fizrokas. There he goes. So he's up into 9th place. Fizrokas down to 10th. He's now out of the pits. 4.7 seconds is the gap to Wiggy. There is Yellow Sausages running in 11th. Having Shadow in 12th. Bandit in 13th. Old Man Jay in 14th. Where is Kevin? So it is Las Vidas from Simonas, from MT96 from Guy, from Wendigo, from Tomosius, who's got himself back up in ahead of Kevin. Kevin is 20 seconds back. He's running to the end of this race. Well, I say that, but if you look at what he's got left to do, he might need to pit again. And very, very wide. Stays on the power though through the grass there. Manages to avoid disappearing off into the gravel. That's actually a very, very good save. And he did keep the pace up. So good job from him. There's Stormfly with that 3-second penalty. He's 1.5 behind Kevin. 20 seconds ahead of Wiggy. So 6 of their 7 drivers are currently in the top 6 places, which is big points for them. But it is a 4-race series, as I've said, plenty to race for beyond today. You know, they've been smart. You know, you can moan that the settings aren't quite to your liking, but they've been smart. They've picked a car on a track that is very, very suited to them, that gives them the best possible advantage. And as I think that's flattering to us. It means that they've seen who we've got driving for us, and they want to try and make things as difficult as possible for us and as easy as possible for them to really demonstrate what they've got. And it's worked for them. But remember, boys, there's still another race to go. There's another few races to go, and we'll see how things go there. Obviously, they will be announced tomorrow. You will have your time to practice, as will we. Leader of the race, Las Vegas. 2.3 seconds is the gap. 2 laps to go at this stage. And who's that? That's not big laps. I think that was one of ours big laps, anyway. Simonas, there he's through as well. Big wobble from Simonas. What happened? Does he keep it? He does, but it looked like he was just going a little bit wobbly there. That's Avalon Shadow being lapped. MT96 running in 3rd place. I said no one's going to get lapped, but clearly they are. 35 seconds is the gap. 22 seconds ahead of Gidrazo. He is 6.1 clear of Wendigo, who is 14 seconds clear of Tomosius. 22 clear of the highest runner for us, who is Stormfly. He's now ahead of Kevin. Has Kevin had another problem, or is it because Kevin's got to drop off the pace a little bit here? Because he can't quite make it. So, odd strategy. I think the original plan was 3 laps, pit, 3 laps, pit, 3 laps. But they ended up pitting at the end of lap 5 to sort of change the cycle. It looked like it was a ploy to try and undercut of some sort, but it doesn't look like it's been faked. It looks like it's made matters worse, maybe. But it is what it is. But they're still 22 seconds back from Tomosis. He will eventually serve that 3-second penalty. Kevin 18 seconds back ahead. of Wiggy. 3 seconds behind Stormfly. Can any of these guys close up? I mean, they're ahead of Fitzrockers at the moment. The key, they've got to stay ahead of Fitzrockers to get some points for the team, to get some points on the board. Ideally, we could do with 1 or 2 more moving forward, or certainly nicking a place or 2. 22 seconds is the gap, but we're in the final knockings of this race now. There is just 3 minutes left. Only a few will make it through to lap number 9. Some will finish on lap number 8. Some might even finish on lap number 7. No, it won't be enough. They'll all make it through to lap number 8. But some will be on lap number 9 come the end of this race. So, devastating display. We look back to the races again that we had against VRC, and there was a very similar scenario in our favour against VRC. Although that was in a few of the races, to be fair. And there's no shame in VRC. They run their own internal championships. They maybe didn't have enough time to practice as we did, and it is what it is. It just goes to prove that you can't win them all. You can't win them all. And what you need to do is you pick yourself up, you learn from this, and you move on and find a way to improve. That's what these are all about. Finding a way to improve. And I love these little team versus teams. Of course you want to win them all the time, but you want to be racing against guys like this. You want to be racing against guys that give you a challenge, where it's not super easy, where it's not a given, a guaranteed anything where you have to work for it to earn it. Because if you win it and you haven't really put in any effort, was it really worth it? Well, I mean, some people would say yes, absolutely. I fucking won. Of course, it's worth it. But me personally, I don't want to win easy. I know I don't. No, don't get me wrong. If someone wants to hand me a win or a prize or something, fair enough, I'll take it. But if you especially if you're doing this kind of effort, you want to feel like you've achieved something. And if the only people you race are incredibly slow, and you win those all the time, you learn significantly less than you do racing against guys like these who are winning. And I guarantee you, I mean, I know all the guys in Black Flag, and I know that next race will be very, very much stronger. This is always going to be a bit of a curveball for us. It's not a track that we're all too familiar with. The car is way out of our wheelhouse. Well, I think that's why they picked it. They wanted to give themselves the best advantage possible, and that's what they've done. And Las Vegas is doing that very, very well. 1.6 seconds is the lead. He's on the final lap of this race. That is the timer tick down. Anyone that crosses the line now has finished racing. And Kevin didn't make lap number 9. He finishes in 8th place. It's just Wiggy ahead of his Ruckus, who finishes also in 8th place. Yellow Sausage the Bandit, Old Man J and Avalon's Shadow also finishing on that lap. So just Stormfly carrying the torch for Black Flag, staying out for the final lap of this race. 25 seconds for 10 more points. Going to be a big ask today. So there is Las Vegas. He's super quick, 1.8 seconds clear, 0.9 seconds clear in fact. Not had the fastest lap. He's got sub 7 minutes, but that's the fastest man on the track. There's Simonas, a 6:58.5 as his best lap. That was his last lap, lap number 8. Is he free now to race Las Vegas and try and close him down on this, which is lap number 9? 43 seconds ahead of MT96. That is King Bob in that 911 GT3 motor car. 24 seconds he is clear of Gidrazo, and that is 8.9 seconds clear of Wendigo, who's 13.4 seconds clear of Tomosius, and then of course 28.2 seconds back to our man Stormfly, who has got us some points today, albeit not a great deal. But points is points is points. There is a blue flag out. Don't know if that means he's being chased down or is he chasing someone else down. Everyone else has finished, so I can't see how. Very strange behaviour. So about half a lap left to go. Well, a couple of minutes of lap left. We have 3 minutes left before this race is over. Well, Nordschleife, it's a punishing, cruel mistress of a track that makes your life very, very difficult from the outset. It's tricky to dial it in. It's tricky to pick your right line round there. It's tricky to memorise your line round there, and then made even more tricky by an unfamiliar car with unfamiliar grip. But these guys have got it down. So Las Vegas with a 2.7 gap, that is, over Simonas. Why that went all funny then? And that is race over. That is the problem with the timing delay on here. Is that you can't get all the way around once someone's finished. So there we go, that's all over, done and dusted. Las Vegas is your winner from Simonas, from Guy. Tops 6 finishes for LRC. That is loads and loads of points for them in race number 1. But remember, there is still very much loads to race for. So there we go, that's race number 1 of this series over. The settings for race number 2 will be revealed tomorrow. We'll send them across. But a disappointing day at the races for Black Flag today. Hopefully things will improve. Well, no, hopefully about it. Things will improve next week. We will be back bigger, faster, stronger than ever. So, yeah, that's it, done and dusted. Tomorrow is the GR4 lottery, live from 7:30. Tuesday we're back with F1 action. Tuesday we're back with F1 action. Thursday and Friday we're also back with F1 action. Wednesday we're back with GR3. And hopefully we'll see a few of you Lithuanian guys in for that tournament. There we go. Not much left to say other than to say I've been Urban Pirate. This has been Black Flag Racing TV. It's been emotional, incredibly tough track. You are so correct. I'm going to go and have a lie down and a bit of a cry. And I will see you tomorrow for GR4 Lottery.